Hello everybody, this is Manos of Evanic Animation Studios, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a human eye in 3ds Max. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we make anything over here in the primitives panel, I'm going to hit M on my keyboard. I'm going to grab the material editor here. I'm going to hit number 1. I'm going to rename that eye first thing, and we're going to change that to standard. From standard to multi-sub-object. Okay. I used the old style material editor, but you can use the new style if you want. That's fine. I'm a little faster with this. Unfortunately, I've been doing this one for so long that I've got so used to it that the other one, I'm just too slow with it. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to call this one eyeball. The second one is going to be pupil. And the third one is going to be lens. Okay. If you want to make a fourth material specifically for the iris, that's fine. I'm not going to do it for this tutorial. Just kind of keep it moving quickly. But you can put as many materials as you want, and you can get as complicated as you want with this. It's definitely once you've got this basic idea down. The ability to make a realistic eye is there, and then it's just a matter of how you map it and what type of materials and diffuse maps you use depends on how realistic the end result is. But like I said, this is very, very, very easy on the rendering times. So if you have 25 characters standing around and they're all relatively close to the camera, you're not really sacrificing too much render time, and you're getting a realistic end result. So let's go ahead and grab the sphere. We're going to drag that sphere from the front viewport, and we're going to go ahead and hit the W key on our keyboard to get the transform tool activated. We're going to center that in the canvas by changing these parameters right here. We're going to zero them out. So I'm going to 0 tab 0 tab 0, hit enter. I'm going to right click on my screen here to make sure that I'm still in this viewport. And I'm going to hit shift. I'm going to duplicate this sphere. I'm going to rename this sphere eyeball. Okay. It's going to end up in this sphere here. But for now, we're going to name it something different. And just in case you're working in a scene that's already populated, it'll be easier to find. I'm going to freeze that. For now, it's going to be a template so that we can work on this one here. And let's go to this one as a matter of fact, and we're going to right click this, change it to editable poly. Okay, and as you see in here, I clicked the modify panel, and then I right clicked on sphere and converted it to editable poly. Alright, let's go into polygon mode by hitting the 4, and we're going to just select that 3 levels of polygons here. And as you see, we have a pretty good lens, outer lens area selected. It's bigger than normal. It says for a cartoon character. A human iris and lens is usually these first two. And again, you have to tweak it a little bit for size. But for today, like I said, this will be perfect. We're going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit on that. And let's maximize this viewport by clicking this little icon here. We're going to hit the R on our keyboard. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit. The R is the rescale tool, by the way, if you're not familiar. Pull it out, kind of adjust it a little bit. I'm going to set it back in so it's still spherical, so that when you animate blanks or anything like that, you're still working with a spherical environment, so it's a little bit easier to make your morph targets for your characters. And also, if they're looking around, this lens won't be sticking out of the eye on the edge, or out of the eyelids on the edge. If they look extreme right or left. So I kind of inset it a little bit, and also it is anatomically correct for that to happen. The eye is a little oval, like a human eye is a little oval. Some of them are a little concave, but for the most part, this is relatively anatomically correct. If you're working on a strictly human eye, it would have just been these, and it would have been a little bit less pronounced. But again, this is a cartoon eye, so we're going to go ahead and roll with it. Okay, so I'm going to hit the element roll out here, the element subobject level, that's number 5 on the keyboard. I'm going to hit Q so that we don't accidentally move anything, or select all of them. And as a matter of fact, let me get out of here real quick and let's just right click, unfreeze all, select all, and let's go ahead and map these really quick. Let's go ahead and move these over here so that we'll have both materials mapped onto these objects. All right. And let's go back into our screen, grab this one, go back over here. And now let's go into the element mode, which is 5 on the keyboard. And as you see, it's already mapped number 2 for pupil. Let's go ahead and change that to number 3, lens. The smoothing groups are fine. And let's move on to this one. Oops. Alright, matter of fact, let me change the name of this one first. I just noticed I forgot to name it. So here we go. Let's go here. Eyeball. We'll hit the W key. Zero that out so it centers up. And it is a sphere still. So we're going to change its size just a little bit so it'll fit right in here. So we got 84.209 centimeters. So we're just going to change that to an even 84, and that should shrink it right up. Alrighty. It's a little bit less than a 1 on that, so we're going to go ahead and go down to 83.1. See if that helps. A little bit too much. Go 83.5. Some of this is trial and error, so you just kind of work it out however you feel is necessary. I'm going to click the Q so that we don't accidentally move anything. We're going to go ahead and select editable poly in the rollout there by right-clicking the sphere. I'm going to click these polygons, select all 3, get out of this viewport here to make sure that we have them selected, and we do. I'm going to hit the delete key, and we're going to grab the border key, the border icon, which is number 3 on your keyboard. I'm going to cap this. We're going to grab polygon, and we're going to select that first polygon in there. And by the way, if you want to hide what's in the way on your when you're working on a model, especially when it's inside something else, just right-click the screen and then hide unselected, and then makes that disappear. So let's go ahead and get in here. We're going to inset this by going over here next to the inset. Click the settings button. We're just going to kind of scroll it out till it looks good. I find this is a little bit easier to do than just hitting the inset button and dragging it around. But again, I do things kind of old school still on Macs, so any other way you want to do it, as long as your end result is inset, that's all that really matters. So we're going to go ahead and assign a smoothing group to that. It's going to be number 1. And then we're going to go into this one here, unhide all. And we're going to switch to vertex mode. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. And I zoom by the scroll wheel, by the way, if you're not aware. I'm going to hit the W key. I'll pull this in so that it matches this contour fairly similarly. I can just grab one of these vertices. Now that I've moved it, I can grab one of these vertices and continue making the same move. And there we go. So we're going to go back to number 4 on our keyboard, which is polygon mode. That polygon's still selected. So I'm just going to drag it out and make that a little bit, just stick out a little bit so you can see it through the lens when you're looking sideways at these eyes. Alrighty. And now, while we're still in polygon mode, let's hit the Q key so we don't hit anything by or select anything by mistake. I'm sorry, move anything by mistake. And let's go ahead and assign a number to these polygons. Clear all just in case and hit number 30, and we're done with that. So now we go to 5, which is element mode. Just select the entire element and let's make that eyeball. Alrighty. And let's get out of here. And let's do some work. Let's hide unselected. And we're going to deselect the polygons, come out of sub-object mode, and we're going to add a UVW map just so we can work on our sizing a little bit. I'm going to do it outside of the final model because we're going to add another UVW map in a moment to the other one, but it's going to basically be the same thing. So we're done with that. And let's go to Maps by clicking the M key. And let's go over here to the diffuse channel, which is right here on our blend material. Just click that little square, hit bitmap, and there's the iDiffuse. This iDiffuse map is going to be on a link at the bottom of the description. And you feel free to download it and use it. Let's go ahead and view the image. It's relatively simple. It's a realistic eyeball, realistic iris, and of course I just drew in some quick veins to kind of give it a little bit of realism there. Again, this is for a cartoon character, so I'm trying to balance realism and like the animation aspect of it. We're going to hit this little button here that shows this, the shaded material in viewport, and then here we go. Let's pull this up a little bit and let's do a quick render. There's our eyeball, looking pretty good, but we see the iris. On a human eye, the iris would actually probably be a little bit smaller than this. It'd probably come out to right about there. But on a cartoon eye, it's a little bit bigger. So we're going to have to move that. As you can see, we did not map all of these individual polygons. This was really quick. We've got a planar map, just a stock planar map right on there, and it looks just fine. You're never going to see the back of the eye, so you don't have to worry about that. So we're already done with the actual mapping, but we have to make it fit. So let's do 0.84, then hit tab, 0.84, hit tab, see what that does. I have to tweak that a little bit, but it's a little bit bigger. And let's see what we have. Alrighty. I want this, the edge of this iris to be right on the edge of that right there. And the way I got into this, by the way, is in your blend material. I click the map, the little capital M here, and it'll take me to this tiling. And I'm just adjusting the tiling so that it is a little bit larger. And to do that, you make the number less than 1. Let's do that. Okay, 81 is not going to be enough. So let's try 78. Oops. Let's put a decimal point in there, 78. And then 78. And that's looking very close. So let's see what we got. Shift Q gives me a quick render. And there we go. That's close enough for now. I can always tweak that later. This will apply when I do the new map. I'm going to kill this UVW map now. And we're going to go over here. And let's unhide all. Alright, I'm going to select the first sphere by using the outer part of the lens. You can also select anything by select by name right here. Here's the eyeball and here's eye. I'm going to select eye. And we're going to put the UVW map there. Scroll down. UVW map. It's already planar. It's already in the right place. We're done. And now, I'm sorry, we'll go back into the modify panel. We're going to click Editable Poly. Okay. And then we're going to find the attach. Sorry, I got lost here for a second. Find the attach button. We're just going to attach that eyeball to the eye. All right, let's go ahead and render because we don't have the lens opacity adjusted yet. But let's go ahead and click render. Make sure there's nothing sticking out of this one. And let's click map. Go up here. I'm going to hit lens. And we're going to move to the diffuse. Drop that down to black. We're going to drop this down to 51. You can use whatever settings you want. You can use gray here. It really doesn't matter what color. You can use a color if you wanted. it's going to change the way your eye looks, but you have complete control of this, so you can do whatever you want. You can also use like a glass or like a more modern material for more realism, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and do it like this. And what we're going to do is going to make it two-sided, and instead of 51, we're going to actually go down to 24, and I'm going to go ahead, and then that way, when you look at the reason for that is when you look at the lens from the side, the lens will have like a color to it in depth, but it's not going to be overbearing on the eyeball itself. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that down all the way down to black. It just seems to work better for me. We're going to go to the specular level, adjust that to 999, glossiness to 93. You can click your maps here and add a ray trace reflection or whatever if you want. By clicking this and then go into ray trace, or you can use a cube map like the cube maps that come with 3ds Max, or you can make your own for a cube map of the environment that the eyeball is going to be in, and that works just as well too. And then you adjust your settings here, and it actually has a pretty good effect. So let's go ahead and render again. Alrighty, now we got an eyeball, and it looks like the specular level is decent, and you can see where it comes over where the lens becomes a lens, and everything else is nice and spherical. And since there's no mesh smooth here, the center of the lens doesn't triangulate. So to show you what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and throw a mesh smooth on there and see how this triangulated here on these first polygons. So if I was to render that, you would have a distorted specular level. That's why we don't have a mesh smooth modifier on our eyeballs typically. There's workarounds on that. You can get rid of that center vertex on the lens right here, and you can basically remap this with all polygons there, or all quads, and it'll get rid of that effect. And then you can mesh smooth it and get whatever effect you're looking for. Alrighty. So the next step of this is to go ahead and go to polygon, hit number 5, select the outer part. We're going to go ahead and hide selection. Alrighty, then we're going to click 4, grab this polygon here, and let's see where this polygon is on this. Looks like we're going to have to make this a little bit bigger. I want this polygon here to be as big as, or almost as big as the pupil on the material map. I'm going to raise this up a little bit, and to see that better here, I'm going to go ahead and do this. We'll collect the edged faces under the realistic rollout on your viewport. And the reason why we do this like this, the reason why we have this here, is so if you close this all the way, you still have that little bit of a black center. So let's go in here to polygon mode again, and let's unhide all and kind of just verify that that's in the right place. And then we're going to go to 5, select the outside again. We're going to hide selected, and then we're going to come out of the eyeball, hit W, and we're going to copy that by hitting Shift and then dragging it to the right. We're going to call this pupil closed, and we're going to drag it out again, pupil dilated. Okay, and for the pupil dilated, let's go ahead and just do this one first. Kill that UVW map, you don't need it. Go in here, and we should have, go ahead and click Z, that'll zoom, and let's hit the Q button just so we don't move that by mistake. And let's go ahead in this viewport, and we're going to maximize that much as we can. Alrighty. Looks like a pretty good deal. Hit W on your keyboard, and then we're going to match this angle here with the pre-existing angles of the other eyeballs. Kind of use them as templates. Oh, it's not letting me select that way. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on what mode you're using. Alrighty, but go ahead. That looks like that's about right. Now we go to Q, then click this one. Get rid of the UVW map. This is pupil closed. Grab polygon, and this time we're going to hit the R key to rescale again. Rescale this down just like we scaled the other one up. We're going to rescale that all the way down, and then we're going to go over here. Click the W, I'll pull that out till it matches the other eyes. Alrighty, that should be enough, and we're finished with that. Hit Q, go here. We're going to add a morpher to this. Right click, pick from scene, and then grab this second slot here, right click, pick from scene, and then there you have it. Hit the Q button again, hide unselected, go into polygon mode, element, doesn't matter, element or polygon, and unhide all. And let's render this eyeball. Oops. Let's try it again, render the eyeball. There we go. We go into our morpher and let's see what we have working here. Okay, let's get rid of the edge faces so we can see the pupil working. There's our dilated pupil. There's our closed pupil. Our normal pupil. And then here's our closed pupil. Looks really good. Let's go ahead and render that. See how realistic that looks, and that eyeball, that pupil is nearly closed. And then we open it back up. And then we dilate it. And let's look at that. Alright, you see how realistic that looks. And it's dilated pretty much as a human eye can dilate. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is fully animatable. You can make keyframes. You should already have a working knowledge of that, but you can make keyframes and animate this to your heart's content. This works really good. By the way, I just wanted real quick, once you have it all the way open, you can toggle the closed icon to get like a quivering effect if the character is experiencing like large flashes of lights, like say a strobe light. You see what I'm saying? And then, when they're back in the darkness, their eyeball is completely dilated. So you have control like that. And of course, you can kind of tweak it, like if this would be what you would want for normal. And you see how the muscles kind of retain their look no matter how dilated it is. Everything kind of works together. And we didn't have to map any individual polygons, and the eyeball looks great. So, hope you enjoyed it. Alrighty, I wanted to make a quick update here to put on the end of the video here. I forgot to show you the uses for making the pupil a different material and how to do that. So real quick, we'll just go in here to editable poly mode, and I already have the pupil polygon selected. We're just going to drag down to material IDs. We're going to change that to pupil. Okay. And then now it changes the color. And we'll go ahead and make that black so it'll match. So we black this pupil out. Then render again. Check our work. Looks good. The purpose for doing something like this is if your character, like, you animate the character and the character turns out to be a werewolf, you want their eyes to glow red, there you go. If you want them to show up in all environments, like say a dark environment, you just turn the self-illumination up to 100, and then even in a dark environment, you're going to have the red glowing eyes, and it's still animatable if you close your pupils. Real closed. You see here, that's how we got it. Okay. And if you wanted to do, you know, like again, like if you want to tweak this so that the actual polygon covers more or less of that pupil, of course that's your judgment, you know, your better judgment on that, because your character, what you're doing for your character serves your needs. For me, and this one, I'm just going to keep it black, and it'll be there just in case I need it. Probably won't, but if I do, then I have it there for that particular character. And there you go. Again, this has been Manos for Evanic Animation Studios. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and there's going to be more to come. I'll see you later.